This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right. Coming down the aisle, your podcast tag team champions of the world, Boomer and Blaze.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And we'll just start off by saying Who Day. We're not talking that
Who
yet.
Day?
Who Day, yeah, finally. And we'll get to that in a minute when we talk about our NFL. That was funny that we both decided to throw on some Bengals gear today. This is actually like only the second time I've ever wore this Burrow jersey. I bought it as soon as they came out with these new jerseys, and I haven't worn it very often. But I figured today was appropriate. Winning on Monday night, winning in the all-white. Good stuff. Good stuff right there.
I want one of those jerseys, but I have not been able to afford one of those jerseys.
Yeah.
So, as soon as we can get some hush
money. Send it our way, TKO. So there you go. I guess.
Of course, then they might complain that we're not using it on wrestling stuff. We're using it on football. Don't tell us how to use our hush money, damn it.
That's right. We do what we want with our hush money. If we want to pay off,
we shut up porn stars for this. I mean, come on.
Real quick, I guess I'm gonna interrupt the show. You have the wrong cover art up. That's the one without you on it. Sorry, I'm interrupting the show, but that's fine. It's okay. He's gonna fix that. But anyway, something I want to mention real quick. We don't really have a lot of, other than our football segment and our wrestling talk, we don't have a lot to talk about other than those two things. But I guess we might as well say, in a way, I'm sad, which sounds horrible, but the writers' strike's over already.
Is it officially? I heard they were talking about it and that it might be over by Wednesday, but I didn't hear officially if it did end on Wednesday.
It did, and the writers have agreed to everything. So they're saying that it doesn't mean snap. Everything's going to go right back into. It still might take a little bit of time, but it's kind of unfortunate because is this going to interfere with The Rock and Cena and that's what I'm wondering.
And potential Batista.
I don't think it'll interfere with Cena. I think because he didn't have anything scheduled before, so it's not like he's already committed. Like he's on the next pay-per-view, so I don't think it's going to take him away right away. But yeah, the writer strike's over, kids. So there we go. But yeah, let's.
It's probably only happy for us wrestling fans, really. I know it's been kind of till we started getting some of our wrestlers to show up. It's been kind of disappointing, not disappointing, but we like our shows. We enjoy our shows, and we want our writers back. I wanted them to just win. You know?
Yeah. So it is a good thing. It didn't last real long. So I think The Rock showed up on SmackDown, and they were like, guys, we got to take care of this. No. 1 week after The Rock's on SmackDown, the writer strike's over. So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Real quick, I haven't done this in a while, but I broke out something today, so I'll have a nerd moment real quick. And we talked about last week when we watched WrestleMania. That was the last time we got to see the Winged Eagle, and I actually dug mine out today. So here we go. Here's my Winged Eagle, one of my favorite belts. Right there. Yeah. I got the white strap. And I love it because this didn't come from the WWE shop, so this still actually has the WWF logo on it. So there you go. That's my Winged Eagle. I'll show off.
Yeah, nice.
It's really light compared to some of the other belts, but I just always thought it was a really cool design. It
is. I like
and
the
what I kind of grew up with it. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anyway, I guess so. We're going to dive into some football, and let's talk about the XFL NFL thing that happened. Let's talk about who they signed.
They signed.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Back again.
AJ's back. Tell a friend, not
Tell a
AJ
friend.
Green. Not AJ Green, folks. Not AJ Green. But the Bengals have signed AJ McCarron, which kind of shocked me. I mean, it only shocked me because, he did he was the greatest story in the XFL that first season, and he talked about how he wanted his kids to see him play and stuff, and they did. I like the move, and I think now I really wish they'd rest Burrow. I'm going to keep pounding this every week, but now you have someone that's not only experienced, but somebody that's played for the Bengals before, so he knows the coaches and is familiar with the systems and stuff. And, I think, man, I'm just worried about Joe, and I'm going to keep saying it every week. I really am. We got AJ now. We got a somebody that can actually play. We got a competent backup. Yes. And I think, yeah. I mean, at Monday, and to be realistic, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, I think we could have won that Monday night game. It was a really good game and a really close game, and I think we could have won it. I think we could have won it with AJ. We don't have the full.
Oh, I was like, we did win it.
No, I'm just saying.
I was like, I didn't realize where you were going with that.
I think we could have won it with.
Did you not?
I think we could have won it with AJ. Joe is not. Joe's not 100% himself right now, and and I just.
The problem is Joe is a competitor. And if he feels like he can do it, he's going to do it, whether it's the smarter move or not.
But as the coach, though, this is on Zach Wilson, though. This is Zach's ultimate decision.
Zach Wilson is the quarterback for the...
Zach Wilson, I'm sorry, Zach Taylor. That was because we have something I want to bring up about him, too. Wrong Zach, sorry. But anyway, the point is, the owner, too, though, I guess. He just gave Joe this fat contract, but... it's easy to be on this side of it and be like, I'm looking at the long term here, though. Like,
I get it. I get what you're saying, and I'm not even saying that I completely disagree with you. I'm just pointing out that I bet a lot of this has to do with Joe Burrow.
Oh, it does.
Joe Burrow wants to be out there.
Burrow's not going to not start unless he gets hurt again and he can't start. That's just the reality. He's going to be out there every game unless he gets taken out, and that is the reality.
But it's nice that we have AJ McCarron as a backup plan if something happens.
It is.
And
nice.
maybe part of it was AJ wasn't ready to play this game. They just signed him, and a lot of other people just got signed. Cam Akers just got signed with the Vikings, and they didn't play Akers, I don't believe.
Right.
Sometimes,
and that could be it too.
Takes a minute to get back into the system or get into the system. With AJ, it's back into.
Yeah. And like I said, at least he's competent now. And I know you don't see this a lot, but to go along with you, I know like Burrow's a competitor and all that, but maybe there's a scenario too, like if the Bengals are playing somebody and they're blowing them out, then you can let Joe sit like the last quarter or the last few minutes, just something like that. If you got a big
which wasn't the case against the Rams.
No, that was a tight game, but we won. Not everybody can be Patrick Mahomes on one foot. I mean, I'm just saying. But it was a good game. It was better. I was glad to get a win, and it was a win on Monday Night Football. Yes, it wasn't in our division. We took 2 division losses, but it was a good win. It was a good win against a good team on the prime time.
Our defense looked strong as hell.
Yeah, they did. So I'll take it. No complaints. It wasn't high scoring, but that's okay. I almost literally. I was trying to get everybody to stay at work just so we could finish watching the game. I'm like, let's not even leave, guys. A few more minutes. We can lock up in a minute.
The only Bengals fan there.
Oh, yeah, but they're all football fans. I mean, most of the people I work with are Browns fans. Yeah, that's
Really,
so.
I heard Columbus is geared more towards Bengals fans, but you still got a crap load of Browns fans.
Yeah.
I'm
now
sorry.
there's plenty of Bengals fans too, because we got busy Monday night right before the game started, and we had plenty of people in their gear. So there are plenty of Bengals fans, and you could buy Bengals stuff around here too, which I couldn't do before. So
which is hard down here. Yeah. Up here. Sorry.
Yeah. So there you go. But congratulations to AJ, and congratulations to the Bengals on their win. And I sent you that graphic. I know I accidentally said Zach Wilson, but that's because, man, Shannon Sharp is cold as ice. That and he made this comment.
Is this my clue right here?
Yes, he made this comment on ESPN, like on one of the shows, and I was just like, burn, savage. He's trying to find the graphic I made here, but
I didn't.
There we go.
I just had to get it up.
Shannon Sharp, and I quote, "The dude couldn't play dead in a horror movie." Ouch. Wow. Right. Like, that's savage, man. That's tough.
And they're saying they're going to stick with them.
I mean, what choice do they have unless you want to bring Colin Kaepernick in? He gave you his agent gave you a call. Like,
fuck it. Why not? Bring him in. I mean, he can't be worse than. I mean, you're going to get a little bit of media frenzy.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the only option. We just talked about it just literally a second ago. Who's in the XFL that hasn't got signed to a team, that has experience? There's that option too. Like, this is what's rough about it. I think we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago, but those journeymen we used to have are all retired. Like those guys, like the Beard. The Beard would go play anywhere, but there's there's really no journeyman left. They've all retired. So now you don't have those veterans that are willing to just go, wherever. So, I mean, they got to kind of stick with Zach Wilson, but this is probably his last year as a Jet, I would assume, no matter what. Even if Rodgers doesn't come back, I don't see Zach Wilson ever being a Jet again, or even in the NFL. He might end up in the XFL.
Well, the problem is Zach Wilson is a backup. That's what Zach Wilson is. He's not a starter.
Wasn't drafted. Right now, he wasn't drafted as a backup. That was this was supposed to be their guy. This was supposed to be
I'm saying he is one. I'm saying he's not a starter.
He's definitely not a starter.
He's being forced to be the starter because of Aaron Rodgers' injury.
Yeah, he's definitely not a starter. So sorry, Zach, but that made me laugh. That might be one of the greatest things I've ever heard. Couldn't play dead in a horror movie. My goodness. We had some other NFL news breaking. We now know who's going to be in the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
We do know that. I guess
we do know.
That is something we are aware of, and sure. I mean,
your reactions are a little. So, listen, I was young when Usher came out. Usher is going to be the halftime show, and he was definitely popular. And the man can sing. Don't get me wrong, I like Usher. He's got some good songs. I just don't know if it's a halftime show. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I just don't know if that's. I mean, but I do like him. I'm a fan.
Look. I look at it like this. When it comes to the halftime show for the NFL, halftime shows aren't for me. It's not for your casual football fan. I know, a lot of football fans are like, why don't you play or get people that that the majority of fans like? Well, first off, there's plenty of fans that are rap fans that like football and R&B. There's also, I'm sure most of these people are probably thinking country.
They're like you said. But this, like you're getting your point, like with Rihanna last year and whoever. They're not just trying to get the football fans. This is about putting all eyes on the Super Bowl. It's about sponsorship. And Usher is going to draw. He's going to draw eyes, and it'll be a big show. It's going to be a huge, extravaganza, no doubt. And the man can sing without auto-tune, and the man can dance, so I'm all for it.
I'm not against it. I just don't care. Like, I don't hate Usher. Like, I like some of his music, I guess. It's just not. He's not my favorite or anything. I don't. It's like I said, it's not for me. Like, right. For me, I want Weird Al.
Well,
bring me Weird Al to the Super Bowl.
The world's been the world's been trying to do it forever, and it's just not
we have not succeeded yet. The Super Bowl. I like the game, so you know what? The halftime show is more for the people that don't watch that aren't your normal football fans. They're not your football fans. They're for the people that don't watch football but still watch the Super Bowl. That's who the halftime show is for.
Yeah.
But hooray for them on Usher.
I think because a couple years ago they had Eminem and Dr. Dre and Snoop, and it's just too hard to follow that halftime show. I think that's what
oh my gosh.
Because that halftime show was amazing.
Let's face it, even though we lost, that was one of my favorite Super Bowls in forever because our team was in there.
Yeah.
And I like
the halftime show too.
So I like Dr. Dre and Eminem.
Probably, though, and I was young when they happened, but you could watch it on YouTube or whatever. But in my opinion, two of the best halftime shows ever were Michael Jackson and Prince. But that's just my opinion. Man, when Prince was doing his halftime show and it started raining when he was singing Purple Rain, that was insane.
For me, I was a big fan of the other Jackson with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, because of the wardrobe malfunction, right? Come on,
What?
man.
No, what? No, I mean, it's great music, man. It's great music. I mean, obviously about the music.
Well, the music this year will be Usher, and Usher's gonna make you want to leave the one you're with. You know what I'm saying? Start a new relationship. Come on, man. That album was all over the place. It was a great album, so we'll see how it goes.
He does Confessions too, right?
Yeah, yep.
These are my Confessions.
My Way was a big hit, yeah. Make Me Wanna was probably his biggest one. That was off his first album.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that was way back in the day.
My Way, every time I hear My Way, I think of Frank Sinatra, not Usher. I did it my way.
Wrong my way.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't remember which one is Usher's.
I am not even going to try to attempt to sing Usher's My Way. You can check it out later on your own.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah. Anyway, so there you go. The Super Bowl halftime show.
Also, can we talk about the frickin' Dolphins scoring 70 points and over 700 yards?
Yeah.
In an NFL football game.
And Tua can't get paid.
I saw a meme that was like, all right, Denver Broncos, you're going to be relegated to the XFL, and now and we're going to bring up one of their XFL teams to the NFL because, oh my gosh, you allowed 70 points.
And
first time since like the 60s.
Yeah, and it wasn't quite the highest. 72 points is the record, so they missed it. But
yeah, no, they didn't beat the record.
Right, but it was close. But I'm glad you brought this up because here's something crazy that I saw this morning when I was catching up on my sports news. So there are 3 undefeated teams left, and that's it already. Like there's only 3 teams that are undefeated in the NFL. So you have the Eagles, makes sense. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl Eagles, makes sense. The Dolphins. Tua can't get paid, and he gets injured all the time. The other undefeated team is the San Francisco 49ers, who are winning with mystery relevant Brock Purdy. So
that's crazy.
So you have one of the
so crazy.
You have one of the highest paid quarterbacks, one of the lowest paid quarterbacks, and a quarterback that can't get a new contract. Those are the 3 undefeated teams. Brock Purdy might become one of the best stories ever in the NFL. Like I said, I don't think anybody that's ever been picked last has even ever got to play in a game, and now all of a sudden he's the starter because Jimmy G packed up and moved to Vegas. So, and he's playing great. Like that last game they won, they showed his salary compared to the quarterback he beat, and it was crazy. He's making like $780,000, and the other guy's making millions. But Purdy will get paid as long as he keeps playing the way he is. He'll get paid.
Right. Well, I mean, those are 3 powerhouse teams, I would say too: Dolphins, 49ers, and the Eagles. I mean, they're all real good teams. I do want to. There's one bit of football news I do want to bring up. I did hear rumors. I don't know how true they are.
Okay.
But I did hear rumors that the XFL and the USFL are talking about merging.
I thought about bringing this up. This is a thing. Yes, this is a thing. There's meetings happening right now. So The Rock, his company, they are looking to absorb the USFL, whatever it's called. Yes, that is a real thing. The talks are happening as we speak.
All I gotta say is I hope we get an Ohio team.
Right.
I could really get into the XFL if we had an Ohio team. It's kind of hard right now,
right?
When none of these teams are in our area. We don't have anybody. I think Washington is the closest, right? Unless they're Washington State and not Washington D.C.
Right. I like the move. I like the move because it'll give you an option to expand more, which is what they want to do. Because if you absorb that league, you already have teams and places they play are already established. Because The Rock he's still, and his partner, they're serious about this. They want the XFL to be around for a long time. They're also looking for.
There is a problem that I think if they merge and they keep all the teams in the same places, there's like 5 or 6 teams just in Texas.
They wouldn't keep everybody, but I'm just saying it gives them options already in place where they can expand the XFL. It would still be the XFL. They're just going to absorb it. It's the Vince McMahon thing. They're just going to absorb it.
I heard one thing that I think would be cool is if they took made it 2 divisions, and one side's the XFL, one side's the USFL, and they kept the names that way, and then maybe do a merger team or group name, but have like the divisions be XFL versus the USFL.
Right. And I also know that they're currently trying to find somewhere else for the Vegas Vipers to play because, boy, that was a crazy. That was a crazy stadium they played in last year. You never wanted to play there when it was windy, or you were like you couldn't kick a field goal. That was off the table. Couldn't even like. I'm talking like it's a 5-yard field goal. Nope, we're just gonna go for it. We can't. Nope, no. Right. Anyway, so yes, you are right.
I have every intention of getting into the XFL or the merger as long as we can get an Ohio team. I want a team.
Yeah.
Or at least someone close. Like, I don't care. You know what? Go to Kentucky. Kentucky doesn't have a professional sports team.
Yep.
And they're close enough. They root for our Cincinnati. Why not? I'd root for Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I think there's definitely a chance we would get a team if this merger happens. Like I said, it's just no matter what they have to pay to absorb that league, it's just a quicker way to expand the XFL because you already get teams and cities and arena deals, and so makes sense.
And we go from like 8 teams to an actual like full
a real
franchise, which will be nice.
The thing I'm interested in too, though, is if you get that big, do you have to have now? Do you need team owners, or do you need to just make sure every team has? I guess they do have presidents. They have people running the teams. There's just no owners. The league owns all the teams, which I don't totally hate. It's a level playing field when the league owns all the teams. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
I know there's salary cap and such in the NFL, but the NBA, the NFL, all the sports leagues are the same. Some teams just have more money than others. So they can get better players. They got more attractive cities. They got more, and if you don't have team owners, then it eliminates all that. So I kind of like the not having the owner thing if they can stay with that.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Me too, for sure.
All right, where are we going next?
All right, well let's talk AEW real quick because it's been made official. All the details are not released yet, but we're getting we're getting AEW on the Max. AEW is going to be streaming.
Oh, I don't recall saving that one.
Oh, whoops. Well, it'll be in our TikToks. I made it it's fine. But anyway, yeah, it is. All the details have not been released yet, but it is official that AEW is going to have a network on Max. And right now they're saying that the December pay-per-view, no name for it yet, but that should be the first pay-per-view available on Max. So we are getting streaming for AEW. I think that's good news. No price point. I assume it's going to be included in Max because they said there's no price point yet, but I would assume it's going to be included, but maybe not. Maybe you'll have to subscribe.
I hope so.
I don't know. The full details aren't out other than the fact that it is a done deal and it's going to happen. We are going to get All Elite Wrestling on HBO Max. So
are we going to be watching more pay-per-views?
Hey, yes, we're going to squeeze it in somewhere if they have them, which I assume they will. I'm excited. I'm glad. I'm not going to lie. I can't afford to do it now, but when AEW first started, I bought every one of their pay-per-views for the first year and a half. Now remember though, that's when they were still on the 4-year format. So even though they were expensive, It wasn't that bad. But with this deal coming up and already with some other deals going on, like they have Wrestle Dreams getting ready to happen, and that's a new pay-per-view. They're adding them. They're slowly starting to add pay-per-views. Hopefully they still don't do one every month because I still think that's too much to have one every month, only because it doesn't give you enough time to build your stories. But regardless of all that, there you go. AEW to Max is going to happen. Do you know what the number one trending thing in the world was this week?
No, I do not.
And I'm excited, and you should be excited as well, because we do a wrestling podcast. And I'm not joking. I just saw this morning when I was finishing up research. The number one worldwide trend this week was Jade Cargill.
Really?
Can you believe that? You got to look at everything they've done. They've put more press behind taking Jade Cargill, signing her, than they did when Cody returned. Like, they're making this a huge, and it is a huge signing. AEW dropped the ball. And this, yes, was a little quote from Jade about how she feels about going to the WWE, and I think she's going to get pushed straight to the top. I told you, I remember talking about Jade in earlier episodes when she was on that run as the TBS champion, and I was like, man, this girl she has it. She has the look. She can talk. She's obviously in amazing shape. And I remember saying on earlier episodes when she was on the streak that I thought she should face Britt Baker and defeat Britt Baker, and while she was still the champ, kind of like the Goldberg streak. And I thought that's where they were going. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of tinkered off. And I don't know if creative was the only reason that she wasn't happy, and maybe she wasn't unhappy. The fact is, still at this point, this is everyone's dream. That's just a fact. If you are a pro wrestler right now and you're starting your career, your dream is to go to the WWE. That's just still the way it is. As much as I like AEW, it's just the truth. This is everybody's dream. Even the established veterans. That's why Cody went back, because he didn't get to finish his dream. So we're going to see people jumping ship. But they've put a lot behind this, and I think Jade's going to get skyrocketed. And just think of some of the matches. Like, I want to see Jade and Bianca, Jade and Charlotte. Like, so yeah, I mean, I'm happy for her.
I think they definitely dropped the ball, and the reason why they dropped the ball compared to Cody, like, Cody's not dropping the ball. They have plenty of established and real good male superstars.
She was
they
one of them.
Don't have that. They don't have that with the women's division.
Yeah.
That was always my biggest complaint when I was watching AEW is, other than Britt Baker and then Jade Cargill, who do they have? They don't really have a really good women's.
Well,
and I'm not saying they don't have it. I'm saying that. And then a lot of them weren't that good.
Right.
Which, and then I guess they have a little bit more now with
Saraya and Tony Storm.
Saraya.
But that's when, though, and Ruby Soho and all that. But see, that's when Jade started kind of getting pushed to the back burner. Is when they started bringing in these established WWE women, which is fine. But homegrown's where it's at. Like, this was your star. And that's why this is a huge deal. Even if you don't watch AEW, even and you didn't watch it on the regular, this is huge because this was one of their stars. I don't care if it's a woman or a man. This was a homegrown star. And she left. Cody was not a homegrown star. Cody went and helped start it. This is a huge shining. This reminds me of the old days when they were jumping back and forth between WCW and WWE. And yeah, this is a big thing. They took one of their homegrown, their own, and yeah, it's a huge deal to me.
This is the equivalent of if they would have managed to grab MJF.
Exactly. Same thing. Yeah. An established star. And now on on the flip side, the rumors are now heavier that Edge is going to show up in AEW. Which would be huge, but here again I hate to say it, I love Edge. But again, it's an established AEW is starting to get more and more WCW-like, and it's not that I don't love these guys, but MJF's your hugest star, and that's great. But then every week, who do you see on TV? Claudio, Bryan Danielson, Jericho, which may have been there from the beginning, but still, you know my point. Like, it needs to be Sammy Guevara and Hangman Adam Page and the Best Friends. Those are the people that it should be, but the established stars are getting all of the attention, other than MJF, who's had the best run, by the way, of any champion, and he's over 300 days as the champion. So you do have that. And if they lose MJF, ouch.
Or the greatest AEW star, the greatest, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy.
I could be wrong now. I could be wrong. I don't know if I ever see Orange going, because I don't think WWE would use that gimmick, but I could be wrong. But yeah.
You don't think Triple H would use it?
I don't. I mean, I guess they might, but it took me a while to become a fan of Orange, but I got there. Orange. It just took me a while.
He's one of my favorites.
So, like we talked about before, though, I'm very excited to see where this goes with Jade. Congratulations to her. And hopefully AEW doesn't lose MJF. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this was a big blow for their women's division. And to be honest, Britt's not getting as much time as she should be getting either, ever since they brought all these other people in. Go ahead, Britt. I mean, if you want to jump over too, come on down,
I would love to see. I don't know if they use them right.
I don't know if
I would love to see MJF in WWE.
But it scares me that he wouldn't be the same MJF. That's what scares me if he went there. I don't think he could be, and not that he's not good enough. It's not that he's not good enough, but I just don't know if he would be, the top. He's the top guy right now.
Well, that's fair. That's fair, and I obviously I wouldn't want it to happen until after his nice run here. But I think he would have the backing of The Undertaker, And because, I mean, we've already heard tweets about Undertaker loving how he, like, does not break kayfabe. He's like, that's his type of wrestler. So I think that with his backing,
Yeah. Speaking of that,
he,
and that's interesting you brought that up because something else happened again this week where in an interview, Undertaker said if he could come out of retirement and have one more match, it would be against MJF. That just happened this week.
I brought it up for a reason.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up because I'd forgot about that, but that did happen this week. The Undertaker did say if he could come out of retirement and have one more match, he would love to wrestle MJF. So you're right, it's not impossible with that kind of backing that it may happen, and that would definitely be a big blow too.
My biggest concern about that is because I do like AEW. I do not want AEW to go the way of the WCW.
Yeah.
That I think that would be a huge blow.
Yeah.
I think the only reason Jade Cargill is not as huge of a blow as someone like MJF is because their women's division isn't that good anyways. So you losing a woman superstar, she will shine. I think this woman is going to shine in WWE.
She is.
Where she may not have. I mean, she was shining a bit in AEW, but it was like you're shining against like the worst in the business.
I think they're gonna strap the rocket on her, and I predict she's gonna take off right away. Jade will be on the WrestleMania card this year. I even predict that. Like I think she's gonna be that big. They're gonna just shoot her.
So.
You got Triple H tweeting about the stuff. All this press release. They sent out photos of her at the Performance Center on her first day. Like they're definitely putting a lot behind her. What's interesting is everything on social media and all that still says Jade Cargill, but is she going to still be Jade Cargill? That's going to be interesting to see. Not sure about that. So
I have no idea.
So we shall see. All right. The other wrestling to bring up real quick is to talk about Fastlane. Do you have something else? All right. Well, before we journey on to Starrcade here, we got a couple more things. Let's talk about Fastlane. And it says my host disappeared, so give me 1 second, and we'll just talk crap till then. There he is.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So that doesn't mess anything. I was trying to share the picture for Fastlane, and instead
and you disappeared.
Yeah.
So Fastlane is our next pay-per-view. This is not the actual official poster, but I wanted to put this up because of the announcement that Shinsuke will get another shot at Seth's title, and this time it's a last man standing match. What about that?
What about?
Do you think? I mean, I think there's a chance. Do you think Naka's going to take the title?
No.
No? You don't think it's going to happen, huh?
No, I don't. I mean, I like Shinsuke, and I would not have an issue with him taking the title. I don't see him taking it on a fast lane. I don't see him taking it right now. I just don't think that right now Shinsuke is the person they want as champion. But I think it's going to be a good match.
Definitely, and I always love the factor of something like this because it's last man standing, so you never know what's going to happen. You never know the potential of who may get involved in the match, so I'm pretty excited to see it. I guess I should have done the actual poster for Fastlane because the interesting thing is John Cena is on the official poster, and this is the first time since 2016, I believe, that John Cena's been featured as the solo person on a poster, because now the storyline they're going with is since AJ's hurt, Cena's going to wrestle a handicap match, and it's officially listed as a 2-on-1 handicap match, Solo and Jimmy against excuse me, John Cena at Fastlane. I still think we're going to get a surprise partner. Who it's going to be, I don't know, but I can tell you who it was going to be. Originally, LA Knight was going to replace AJ, and of course, LA Knight has the COVID right now, so could it still happen? Randy Orton's a rumor too, or will they really make Cena wrestle, by himself? I don't think he's going to end up wrestling solo, or if he does, someone's going to end up saving him. But I expect there to end up being a partner. I just not for sure who it's going to be. So there you go.
Yeah, all I'm thinking about right now is like man, posters nowadays aren't as fun as they were in the past, and our cover it's not going to be nearly as fun. Sorry,
Boy, the places his mind goes.
places I go. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'll probably be watching Fastlane. We'll see. I've got a busy weekend this weekend, so we'll see if I'm able to watch it or not.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you don't have to worry about it this weekend because it's not this weekend.
Oh, it's October 7th.
It's October 7th, so you got some time.
Which means I'll probably be waiting until after my kids go home then. Because I'll have my kids that weekend.
You already know me. I mean, unless it's like one of the big pay-per-views, I usually don't watch it until it's over anyway, as long as I avoid social media and don't get run. But we'll see what happens, and we'll see what other matches they announce. But the big one, of course, is the world title match, and to see what happens with Mr. Cena and his tag match there. So I don't think Roman's even going to be on this pay-per-view. Roman's coming back, I believe, next week on SmackDown. Like, don't quote me on that, but I don't even think he's going to have a match at Fastlane. So there you go.
I will say one thing, that especially now that football season started, I do love that they do the pay-per-views on Saturdays.
It's not bad. Real quick side note for you, though. We think they're bad when they are over in Saudi Arabia. Elimination Chamber will be on at 2 o'clock in the morning in the good old US of A. So that's going to be exciting.
2 a.m.?
Yeah.
2 a.m.?
Because of the time difference. Yeah, I believe that's...
Honestly, though, that would probably be something I would watch. I'm a night person, so... I might start it at least. I might watch some of it.
Right. It's gonna be a big one, that's for sure. All right, well, I don't think I have anything else except for one more thing, and that would be the thing. The Chic Tweet of the Week.
Chic Tweet.
And this week's tweet is definitely inspired by a very, very good band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, for sure. Because this week's tweet is, "Under the bridge downtown is where I drew some blood when I beat the fuck out of that Hollywood blonde jabroni Hulk Hogan." I don't think that's the way the lyrics... The first part sounded familiar, but I don't remember...
It sounds exactly the way I remember it.
Oh, yeah. Your Chic Tweet of the Week. Which, by the way, got reposted again. It seems like they are now reposting us every week. So thank you to the Iron Sheik's family. Because once again, I was looking for our Chic Tweet of the Week, and there we were at the top of the feed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. I wish, yeah, for sure. I'm glad really you convinced me to just keep it going. And I'm glad their family finally recognized it. And it makes sense. Like, it would have been cool if it happened while he was still alive, but it makes sense after he passed because they were just getting all sorts of, tweets from all these people and everything, seeing all the love for him. So it makes sense that it happened after the fact. But there you go. Little throw out to the Red Hot Chili Peppers for this week's Chic Tweet of the Week. All right. Well, I think we are ready.
I was planning on singing the Chic Tweet, but for some reason I can't get the melody down of the song. For some reason. Like, I know the song, but I just can't think of how it goes. When I see it, the only thing I can think of is, I want you, and I need you. I can fly into the sky. Like, that's the song. Under the bridge downtown, where I drew blood when I got hometown. Like, that song is what's popping in my head, and I can't get Red Hot Chili Peppers in my head. I got that damn song in my head. You know the song I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's what's popping in my head when I read these lyrics.
Are you okay over there? Is everything all right?
No, apparently not.
Apparently not. Oh my!
I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, why can't I get the song in my head?
I don't know. Maybe you haven't had enough coffee. I don't know. But
let me drink some more.
Drink some more. Take another chug. Maybe that's the problem. All right. Well, anyway, we are ready, and of course, since last week was a WrestleMania, that means this week we are going back on our time machines again. Dear sweet baby Jesus, please let this be halfway decent. It's another Starrcade, folks, with 300 matches squeezed into 3 hours of wrestling excitement. And
but we have an intro this time. We have an intro. I saw it. It doesn't just go straight to a match. We're starting to get some production values.
And I mentioned to you that they're going to come from 2 different venues. So this is a throwback to, was it WrestleMania 2 they did that? WrestleMania 3? I don't know.
Maybe.
Not WrestleMania 3. 3 was the Silver Dome. It might have been 2 where they did multiple locations. But anyway. And the main event is Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. And on the cover art, this says this was the match of the year in 1985.
I have a question.
Sure.
Did Starrcade come out before or after WrestleMania 1? Starrcade 3, obviously Starrcade 1, 2, it absolutely came before the first WrestleMania, but I know WrestleMania normally comes out in April, but I don't know if that's how it was back then. And Starrcade, it seems like, has been coming out in November, so logically, this came out after WrestleMania 1.
So the very first WrestleMania was March 31st, 1989. This pay-per-view is, or 1985, excuse me. This pay-per-view is November 28th, 1985.
So it did come after. This is after the first WrestleMania. Okay.
Yes.
I was just curious.
First WrestleMania, and this was still called the match of the year. That's a good point that you pointed that out, and so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So, ready or not, are we ready to watch Starrcade 85? The Gathering is the subtitle for this.
Of the Juggalos. Oh, sorry. That's not what it is? No, my bad.
We won't see them wrestle till we get to WCW. Oh, ECW too, I think. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, right. All right, here we go.
Let's do it. All right, so here we are, Starrcade 85, The Gathering, and before they, we actually got a big old, it didn't just start, like we got a big old, where they sung the national anthem, all that stuff, and then of course they let us know they're in 2 different arenas. They're at the Greensboro Coliseum and they're at the Omni, and they will be going back and forth between arenas, like this match started in the Greensboro Coliseum, the next match will be in the Omni, back and forth and so on, and here in our first match, it's for the Mid-Atlantic Championship, and it's Crusher Khrushchev versus Sam Houston. Crusher, and it would be hard to tell here. I was giving my co-host crap off the air because I'm like, you know who that is, right? Like, come on, you know who Crusher is. You don't recognize Crusher Khrushchev?
You're a dick.
But Crusher Khrushchev goes on to become Smash and Demolition, and of course that's when you were like, well, that's why he doesn't have face paint. That's why I didn't recognize him.
I don't think I've ever once seen him without face paint.
You don't remember Repo Man? I mean, he wore like the little...
Okay, a mask. Or a mask.
Yeah. And anyway, and for those of you who don't know, Sam Houston here actually has a brother who wrestles. That is the brother of Jake the Snake Roberts. Sam Houston is no Jake the Snake. Let's just say that.
No, there's a lot less cocaine involved.
And a lot less wrestling ability involved as well.
Yeah.
So, and this was not, and especially, I'll say this. This was better than probably almost everything we saw in the last Starrcade. So it was not a bad.
No, I don't know about that. There was that one match.
It also wasn't fantastic.
I can't remember which match that was. It wasn't the main event because Dusty and Flair was actually quite disappointing. There was a match before that, though.
I think it was Steamboat and Tully Blanchard, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's who it was.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think it was Steamboat that gave us the best match. But I don't think this was better than that.
No, but I'm trying to make just a point that it's been rough, and this wasn't
better than
totally
most
rough.
Of all of Starrcade 2. Yes, you're right.
And Crusher, had the look. Of course, he was brought in to be with the other Russians. We saw them in tag team action, I think, on the last one. But they're a 3-man team now because they have 6-man tag titles. So that's why this character was created. But so he's big and he's got that Russian singlet on. He's got the look. And it didn't bother me that Sam Houston was small because that's fine. But he was boring. Like this much personality. Yet somehow some fans were still cheering for him. But and his stuff looked awkward to me. Like he's a very tall man, so I get that. But like his drop kick, like everything he did just looked kind of, looked a little. He's definitely not his brother. Yeah, he's definitely not his brother. That's for sure.
I do find it funny that his brother's finisher is a DDT and his is a bulldog, which is essentially a backwards DDT. You're doing the same thing, driving the head to the mat, but
yeah.
I just noticed
and it wasn't nice.
and I was like,
That actually reminded me. That was Dustin Rhodes' finish when he first started wrestling. I wonder if that's who he stole that from, was Sam Houston. But overall, not too bad. We got a little bit better production value. There's 875 titles on the line and 9,000 matches. So our segments talking about these matches may not be as long for all of them, especially if they suck. There's like 87 breaks on the Peacock here. We don't know what's going to happen.
yeah.
But as far as it goes, it was fine for a kickoff match. Nothing over the top. The ending was kind of good because Sam Houston was going for a pin and they were right by the ropes. So Crusher got his foot on the ropes and the ref stopped the pin. And then Crusher did whatever move. That's how much I can remember. And
it was a clothesline.
It
was a devastating clothesline.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good clothesline.
Pretty good clothesline. And he pinned Sam, and Sam has his foot on the rope, but of course the ref didn't see it. So Crusher wins.
No. See, this is good heel. This is good heel, and you know I love
it's a good way to get
heel. As soon as he noticed Crusher noticed the foot on the rope, he quickly moved it real quick so the count would continue. And luckily for him, he moved it before the ref noticed. So that's good heel. I mean, that's good wrestling. That's not even good heel. I mean, even if you're a face, you take that foot off the rope if you can avoid it. You know, Don't let him kick out that way.
Yeah, exactly. And he got the win and got a lot of heat on him, so that's exactly what you want. And I told you, I hope we get to see him talk sometime in this pay-per-view, though, because he's with the Russians, and he's supposed to be doing this Russian gimmick, but he doesn't even try to have a Russian accent. He just talks like himself. Like, he'll sound like Smash if you hear him do an interview. You know, he just uses his normal voice. He's like, I'm not doing that. I would do anything for wrestling, but I won't do that.
I don't think that's going to help me determine, because it seems like all those wrestlers back in the day
sound the same.
They all just like they use this yell scream thing, and I'm like, until Shawn Michaels gave you some personality, Bret Hart gave you personality. That was like the go-to. Or even Undertaker. Undertaker, I mean, he doesn't talk much in the early days, but when he did, it was always like a low growl and not a scream.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was like, rest in peace, you know?
Yeah.
So,
or Psycho Sid when he used to do his real low, you know. I always like Sid on promos too. He'd talk real quiet but insane, you know.
in WWE right now, or WWF where we're at right now, everybody has personality except for Legion of Doom, who keeps that really shitty old school 80s promo work alive. And
what a booger!
What a booger! Like the time they were talking about a nursery rhyme. Little Miss Muffet went for a tuffet, eating her curds and whey.
Yeah,
and obviously they don't know how it actually goes, you know. So
yeah, you know, whatever.
But I think we've talked enough about this Crusher. What do you give it?
I'll give it 2 clotheslines.
I give it 2, I guess. 2 foots on the rope.
2 foots on the rope. All right. Let's see what's next. Dude. What is it? Dude.
You can talk now.
He's trying to get us canceled, obviously, is what he's trying to do.
It's a Mexican death match, and it's a hat match, and this is the Mexican hat dance.
It's a Mexican death match.
Damn it! What?
And the only way to win...
All I'm saying is I wanted a mariachi band at ringside during this match. That's all I wanted. I asked for so little.
Was a Mexican death match, and the only way to win was to climb the pole and grab the sombrero.
Like
all death matches, apparently.
Oh, yes. people always be trying to kill each other over a hat, you know?
All the time.
That Gaucho wanted his hat.
I mean, at least they did it properly to where there were no rules, and it was a Abdullah the Butcher against Manny Fernandez, the Bull, and yeah, thus the music, of course. And when Abdullah was coming out, a fan actually tried to attack him, and we saw the police arrest the guy, and that was pretty. Everybody has music, even Abdullah the Butcher had music.
Indeed.
Manny came out to something kind of like this.
No, it was more like a country song.
It really was. It was more like a West, like a cowboy theme.
Yeah, it was
music.
a cowboy West. It was not a modern Mexican song or something.
But I'll tell you, as soon as it started, Abdullah the Butcher reached into his trunks and pulled out some kind of spike and stabbed Manny, and we had blood right away. This was not a technical wrestling match, but this was entertaining, bloody, and fun. I didn't know Abdullah the Butcher could sell like he did. My goodness, man.
Yeah. Now, they weren't using it was bloody as hell, and they weren't using the most brutal of weapons.
What's more brutal than a boot? What's more brutal than a boot? That's not on your foot.
It's more... let me stop that now. It's more brutal if you keep your foot in the boot, in my opinion.
Yeah. You would
but
think.
Hey, that's me. You know? I would think that your entire weight with the boot would be more devastating. But no, they just kept whacking each other with the boot.
They were both bleeding the whole time. I'm sure almost every picture you found of Abdullah had him bleeding on his head because that's
yeah. He's always bleeding. Every time we see him, he's bleeding.
And it's the sombrero. It's the sombrero. It's the one they fought over. Yeah.
I found it. I got this full outfit.
Abdullah got hit by the boot and sold it like, I mean, he went full seizure. He was just like electric chair.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Full seizure.
I remember Abdullah. I remember being crazy. I don't remember him selling like a champ. Like, come on, man. Manny too. This was entertaining. I don't care if it was technical. It was a bloody mess. It was fast paced. The crowd was digging it. Manny got poked in the family jewels with whatever that spike was. Like, oh yeah, ouch. It was this was good. I like this. This was better than the first match. This was entertaining. It had everything you wanted. And when it first started, I was kind of like, really, they got to climb a pole to get a sombrero, but it didn't matter what was on that pole. The match was fun.
It was a fun match. They made sure. You know what? There was no death in this death match, but at least there was plenty of blood from both sides. Yeah, it was an entertaining, like just a slobber knocker, you know.
Slobber knocker. And I kind of picked on those lines. I picked on it a little bit, but the way they did it, the pole wasn't super high, and they just literally set the hat on top, so that way either one of them could get up there. Because at first I was like, "How are we're supposed to believe Abdullah's going to climb a pole to get a sombrero?" But the way they set it up, I wanted to see him
climb that pole. Yeah. I wanted to see him grab that sombrero. I wanted to see Abdullah the Butcher with that sombrero.
Yeah. I remember liking Abdullah.
Bloody face
because of stuff like this. Yeah. And of course, we know it's the 80s, so they're going to wrestle on that mat all night long after these two guys have bled everywhere.
Oh, yeah, this bloody
nobody
mat,
cares.
yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, so I'm going to give this 3 sombreros.
I'm going to give this 3.5 Mexican hat dances. The only complaint I have is they didn't have a full-on mariachi band outside during the entire match. So I gave it to us while we were talking, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I did not warn Boomer when I was going to play that. There was no warning whatsoever. I'm just like, don't
talk right away. This guy set me right up for that one.
But this is the song I think of whenever I used to watch like Looney Tunes cartoons, and like whenever they did something that was any kind of Mexican story or whatever, or maybe Speedy Gonzalez, they
definitely that was a lot.
I didn't know what it was called until I looked up Mirachis, and then I found out it's called the Mexican Hat Dance, and I found
definitely in a lot of the Looney Tunes back in the day for sure.
Yeah, I remember
also
that song playing in cartoons all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why we played it.
Right.
Now maybe that was problematic. I don't know. But I've heard a lot of because I've heard some people like worried about Speedy Gonzalez being canceled. But I think, to my knowledge, most Mexican people actually like Speedy Gonzalez. Now, they have a slight issue with Slowpoke Rodriguez, which is your stereotypical lazy Mexican character.
Right.
But I think most of them find Speedy Gonzalez kind of positive. From what I've heard, I guess I don't know. I'm not of Mexican descent myself, so I don't really have a leg in this race.
Right.
But But I always loved as a kid hearing the Mexican hat dance that I just now found out is what it's
just
called.
found out. Yeah.
Traditional Mexican hat dance.
Yeah, there you go.
Always a blast to hear.
Definitely. Well, hopefully, let's see if they can keep it going. The first match was but this was pretty good. And we know next, because we heard the teaser, we get a bull rope match next.
Yeah, they're just really going on with these weird matches, huh?
Yeah. If it's not a title match, it has to be a gimmick match. I think that's the theme we're going for here. If you don't have a belt, you got to throw it in the cage or make it no DQ.
Fair enough.
Hey, if it makes it more entertaining, sign me up. This was fun. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, real quickly before we review our next match, was another bloody affair. I got some breaking news that came across my phone, and we were just talking about this. But today, the USFL and the XFL officially announced their intention to merge, subject to customary approvals and the transaction being consummated. This historic combination will anchor professional spring football with substantial capabilities and resources to ensure our future growth. So they've officially announced that they want to merge. It just has to be approved by whoever has to approve it. So there you go. We were just talking about that today. And here we go with our next match, which is a Texas Bull Rope match between Cowboy Ron Bass and Black Bart, former tag team partners. Black Bart is managed by J.J. Dillon, and if Cowboy Ron Bass wins this, he gets a 5-minute bull rope match with J.J. Dillon. So here we go again, another bloody affair. So maybe they're doing a bunch of gimmick matches, but if this is what you have to do to make your card good, then why not? Because this was also another...
It's way better than last time.
This so far has been the best Starrcade we've watched, in my opinion. And
I would say, yeah.
So, I mean, because at least we're getting entertained.
Because the people we don't normally care about is at least putting on more entertaining matches.
Yeah.
They're not just throwing out these really short, crappy matches. They're
with nobody in it.
Bloody affairs with people that... Actually, we have seen Black Bart. We've seen Cowboy Ron Bass. These are people that we don't know.
We saw Manny and Abdullah fight, I think, at the first Starrcade, or maybe the second one.
We did see Abdullah
now we're getting at least some stories and stuff behind it instead of just, here's John Generic and Bob Nobody.
The first match, we got to see Smash from
Demolition.
Demolition, so, we're getting some cool stuff so far.
But yeah, this was good. You can't go wrong with a bull rope match. Unlike a boot, there was a bell on this bull rope that they were using as a weapon. I will say this
about this match. This is what I wanted with this match, and I feel like I got it. But it's better summed up by my good friend Christopher Walken.
Guess what? I got a fever.
Got a fever.
It's more cowbell.
One of my favorite SNL skits ever.
All I wanted was more cowbell.
More cowbell.
More cowbell.
And we got it. We got more cowbell.
We definitely got more cowbell.
And it was a dangerous cowbell. Very entertaining, good story. Like I said, we knew these guys were partners. Ron Bass won, big surprise. They immediately went into the J.J. Dillon match. And the only complaint I had with that after the fact, they were technically the same, it all happened in one segment, that Black Bart was outside the ring the whole time and he didn't interfere until the ref got knocked out. It was a bull rope match. He could have interfered without the ref getting knocked out, but I can forgive that. I also forgot to mention the first match we saw. This is the Greensboro Coliseum we're back at, and the referee here looks like Mr. Furley from Three's Company. That might show my age. I don't know if you want, but that outfit he's got on looks just like something Don Knotts would have wore when he played
Shit,
Mr.
I
Furley.
haven't
He's got that leisure jumpsuit on, like, "Ooh, come and knock on my door.
I've been waiting for you.
Anyway,
Yeah, I haven't watched that in forever.
great show. John Ritter was a comic genius. I'll tell you that. So, like I said, Ron Bass won the first one. J.J. Dillon actually beat Ron Bass because Black Bart came in and interfered and gave a half-ass pile driver to to Ron
Yeah,
Bass.
that was a weak one.
And J.J. Dillon wins. So there you go. That is our.
Oh,
But it's another entertaining one, and they gave us more cowbells, so you gotta like that, right?
oh yeah, definitely do like some more cowbell. We got all the cowbell.
I'll go ahead and give this match 3 Christopher Walkens. I'll give this
3 Christopher Walkens. Well, I'm gonna go about the same, but I'm gonna go 3. I've got a fever.
Ah, there's JD.
And that fever
more cowbell.
is more cowbell.
More cowbell. Yeah.
And they kept on giving that cowbell.
I mentioned too at this point he was already retired, but J.J. Dillon was actually a wrestler at one point, so at least he kind of knew. I mean, you could tell when he was in the ring that he knew what he was doing. So he took a bell to the head too and got busted open. Everybody bled, except for the referee.
Yeah.
So
that seems to be the theme of tonight. Is everybody bleeds.
Everybody bleed, and we'll just wrestle on the mats all night long. It'll be fine.
And if I know any better, Flair really bleeds, so I'm guessing more blood is coming at the main event.
It's got to be coming in the main event for sure. So we got a little teaser, and we know we're about to watch an arm wrestling match. This should be, if that's really what this is, this may not even get ranked, but we'll be back to talk about it.
We'll see.
Sure.
All right.
All right. Before we get to our next match, we forgot to bring up the fact we did get to see a Crusher Crucive interview, and didn't he sound really
asked for? Which is what you asked for.
Did he? He sounded really Russian, didn't he?
I mean, he talked like he was Russian, just not sounded like Russian. But in fairness,
he sounded like he was from Georgia.
This logic, there's many people that are from different countries who adopt our dialect and our
That's in the real world. That's in the real world, but he's in the wrestling.
Not
wrestling.
In the wrestling.
Well, he's in the
wrestling world.
Russian.
Russian in wrestling, you got to be Russian.
Nikita Koloff is from Atlanta, Georgia, and he will make you believe he's from the mother country, Russia. I'm just saying.
Fair.
The other two guys talk fluent Russian, and they are not. Well, I think Ivan might have actually been, but Nikita was definitely not Russian. So, he also, fun fact, Nikita Koloff legally changed his name to Nikita Koloff. You talk about committing to your character.
Hell yeah.
Russian accent and change your name, So we did get to see a Crusher Crucive interview that went way too long. One of my favorite things in these old days, like he's standing there after he just won the title. He's literally holding the title. We watched you just win the title. And then in the interview, he makes sure to say, and as you all know, I'm the champ. Yeah, we know. We see the belt. We watched the fucking match. We know you're the champ. Thanks for telling us.
I'm actually surprised he didn't do, not only did he not sound Russian, but he didn't do the normal 80s interview style. It wasn't,
it was very mundane.
Now you're champ. It was just it was like he was just literally talking like
hanging out.
Kayfabe. He's like, yeah, guys, I'm the champ. As you know, I won. No disrespect to the other guy. I can't remember his name.
Right. You Americans,
it was just like a normal,
always trying to cheat us Russians.
His dialogue is very
anti-American and all that.
It's very anti-American. I'm going to show you that Russia is the superior athletes, and I'm like, but you don't sound Russian, and this is a day and age. We don't believe you if you don't sound like the country you're trying to represent. It's just not right.
It's not going to happen, man. So our next segment, we thought all we were going to see was an arm wrestling match between Superstar Billy Graham and the Barbarian. But while we were watching the arm wrestling match, they also mentioned they were going to fight immediately after. So I don't know why we had to watch them arm wrestle. But Here's Superstar Billy Graham. This is post W. He's close to retirement at this point. He retires a couple years from here, actually. And but we get to see a young Barbarian before he's in the WWF. I'm actually sitting here reading this card, and I'm like, we're going to see guys that are going to be in the WWF in another year or two on this card. So that's always something interesting to see when you go back and watch this. Guess what? More blood.
All the blood.
I mean, this segment was fine. J.J. Dillon, again, like you mentioned, J.J., well, he wasn't out there this time, but he will be again in a minute. He's like Jimmy Hart back in the day. He's with everybody. But, I mean, it was fine. It was the arm wrestling segment was quick, and they went right into the match, like, immediately. So it was fine. It was a fine little segment. Barbarian had a great look. Billy Graham still looks good, even though he's probably pushing 60 at this point, I would think. I could be wrong. Maybe not 50-something, probably. But anyway, point is, it was fine. I don't think it was as entertaining as the last couple matches we've seen.
No, it's definitely.
It was kind of a.
I don't know if it's worse. I'm trying to think if it's better or worse than the first match.
I think it's still better than the first match.
It's still better
because it's still more entertaining than the first match was. So, but it was fine.
It's still better than anything that was on Starrcade 2.
And most of the stuff on Starrcade 1.
Most of the stuff on Starrcade 1. Yeah, this
most
is
of
still.
It, yeah, so.
It's like they took. It's like they're really like, oh man, did you see what WWF did with WrestleMania? Which wasn't that good, by the way.
No, but you sit back and you're watching, and like here we have Billy Graham versus the Barbarian, and on the other channel we have Hulk Hogan running around with Rowdy Piper and Cyndi Lauper. So it's so yeah, I think they're feeling it. I think this is when they start feeling like they have to one up. And this is that time of year because, NWA would do this, Vince would do that. That's how we got like Clash of the Champions, when Vince put Royal Rumble on TV, the first one, that's when they came up with Clash of the Champions, a TV special to counteract, so we were kind of in the early wars, even before the Monday Night Wars.
The Monday Night Wars.
We're in territory wars at this point, so yeah. So, and actually, I feel it's the next Starrcade we're going to see. No, it might be 87 when we start seeing even more and more, because at one point, Jim Crockett buys another promotion, and that's when guys like Barry Windham and Rick Steiner and guys like that start showing up, is after they buy this other wrestling promotion. So we're getting close to we're getting close to those guys. So anyway, this was fine. It wasn't horrible, and it was entertaining. Now I'm just going to give it 2.5 arm wrestling matches.
That's
fine.
No, I'm going to stick with 2. I think it was about the same as the first one, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with 2 tie-dye t-shirts.
Tie-dye t-shirts.
Which I'm sure my mom appreciated.
And I know we've talked about this, but I noticed when Billy Graham was wrestling in this match, and I looked at the tights he had on, and I'm like, those were the Hollywood Hogan tights. Like when he went back to red and yellow and came back to WWE, he started wearing those tie-dyed. And we've talked about it before, like Billy Graham's who Hulk Hogan always wanted to be like anyway. So
we even heard that stash. I mean, he definitely was.
And we heard Tony Schiavone call Billy Graham's arms pythons during this match. So even something like that kind of came from Billy Graham. So pretty cool. But all right, well, let's see what's next. I think you mentioned it, though. The funny thing is we haven't seen a lot of them. I think we have a title match next, but this is nothing like Starrcade 2, when like every match was a title match in Starrcade 2.
National title match between Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster,
and Buddy
Landel.
Buddy Landel, the Nature Boy. Not that Nature Boy, the other one.
Not that Nature Boy, some other Nature Boy.
That Nature Boy's in the main event. All right, well, let's check it out.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
All right, so here we go. Our next match is for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship, and it's Terry Taylor against the Nature Boy, Buddy Landel. Woo!
That's right, everyone's favorite, Terry Taylor. The Red Rooster.
I'm sorry, Terry. This guy. I'm sorry, Terry. I hope if you're listening, I apologize. Red Rooster, everybody's
Just
favorite.
so you know, I'm a dick.
Looks more like you're a cock, but what do I know?
Hey, you're cock-a-doodle-doo.
You're all weak, folks.
He's lucky I didn't just throw a red rooster instead of him on the graphic.
Well, when you told me you had a video, I thought, oh, what did he find? That was pretty clever. I thought you were going to pull out like his entrance for WWE when he was the Red Rooster coming down to his.
Nope, just a rooster crowing.
And anyway, and you guys know that, of course, that I like to. This is Buddy Landel before he's the Nature Boy. That picture you found there.
Oh shit! I made this while we were talking about the last one, so I didn't realize he was going to be the Nature Boy.
Somebody I pride myself on knowing a lot of stuff, but we were curious talking during the match, and you were like, "Well, who was the Nature Boy, first?" I knew, of course, the original Nature Boy was Buddy Rogers back in the day, and I remember Buddy Landel being the Nature Boy. I just didn't remember who was first and how all that panned out. So I went to Google and I found out something I didn't even know. That's very interesting that I'm going to share right now. But Ric Flair actually earned the right to be called the Nature Boy by defeating Buddy Rogers. So they actually had a legit match for Ric Flair to earn the right to call himself the Nature Boy. And then when the NWA signed Buddy Landel, they came up with the idea of him calling himself so his gimmick the gimmick was intentional to make him a heel right away. Yeah, he's claiming to be the real Nature Boy. So there you go.
Does that mean is Ric Flair not really considered a heel at this time? Is he not officially the dirtiest player in the game yet?
I mean, he is a heel. I think that I don't know if they brought Buddy in specifically to feud with Flair. I just think it was more the character they decided to give him. Because Flair is definitely, because Dusty's the baby face, so Flair's definitely a heel right now, and he's about to form the Four Horsemen. So
I'm excited about the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they form on the next Starrcade. We should see the formation happens between this Starrcade and the next one.
And the next one.
So we should have the actual Horsemen together, and we're actually about to see two of the Horsemen. They're just not the Horsemen yet, but anyway. So there's the story. I did not know that Nature Boy actually legit won the name in a match. I mean, legit.
Right.
That I never knew. I did know Buddy Rogers was the original Nature Boy. I just didn't know that Flair actually had a match with him to earn the right to call himself the Nature Boy. So there you go. And of course, Buddy Landel was given that gimmick because, I mean, if you look at him, he kind of does look like, there's a little Ric Flair. He pulled it off. He looks like, and he played it. He played it great. He had great heat, man. He had great heat, so he pulled it off. And Terry Taylor, of course, is the young baby face and good-looking guy before he has the stupid red spikes in his head and everything. So, and it was a good wrestling match. We had no gimmicks this time, but both these guys could go in the ring, and you had a story, if nothing else, just because of Buddy Landel's character they give him, and they even mentioned it in the commentary about him being the real Nature Boy, and all that. And the fans hated him, obviously, big time. And he pulled off the victory with a little help from old J.J. Dillon out there, old dirty J.J. The ref bumps might have been some of my favorite because the ref had literally already took a bump and he got back up, kind of started getting back up. And he made sure he got another bump again, like he double bumped the ref. That was pretty good. And of course they tried to do the classic. JJ was standing on the apron and he had I think it was a boot again because in the 80s the boot was the most devastating weapon in wrestling.
You gotta take it off. You gotta take it off.
And you could see it coming, but it was still a good spot because, of course, Buddy Landel went to send Terry Taylor into JJ, and Terry reversed it and sent Buddy Landel into JJ. But the ref was still down, and when Terry and Buddy get on the top rope, Terry goes for a superplex, and JJ grabs his foot from underneath him. Buddy lands on top, and we get the knocked out still ref count, and Buddy Landel's your new champ. I forget which title this was, Mid-Atlantic or something. What title was this? This was a title match, right? National? Let me look. National Heavyweight.
World title?
Yep, National Heavyweight Championship. So there you go. And Buddy won.
I forgot to put that on there.
And the crowd was pissed. And it was a good match overall, though. Still another good entertaining. And I think it was good to have. The gimmick matches have been great. I'm not complaining. The bull rope match was fantastic.
Yeah.
And all these other, but it was good to have just a wrestling match to break some of that away. Because I know we
weren't saying last Starrcade.
Right. last Starrcade, we're like, why are we doing this? Why do we have to have 75 matches with people nobody cares about? So,
Right.
so this was good for a break because I know we still have like 2 steel cage matches left, I believe. So, but overall, it was good. It was entertaining, good wrestling. I actually like this. Now knowing the history behind the Buddy Landau character, I like it even more. They're just like, you know what? We have a great idea. We're going to make you generic Ric Flair and run with that. So, anyway, I'm going to give this 3 just for you, Terry.
Yeah, I'm giving this I say I'm going to give this 2.5.
Like it? I like it. You could have put him up on the graphic.
I almost did. But I wanted that crow. I wanted the crowing.
No, that was good. That was good.
That was my vision. So instead of going with Foghorn Leghorn, I went with the rooster. I figured I'll do it here. And then I got to do my perfect Foghorn Leghorn impression right there.
That was good. I'm not going to take anything away from you on that. Yeah.
I say.
All right. Well, let's see what's next. I mean, we did get a little peek. We know we're about to see the Anderson brothers, who at this time are the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. So let's check it out.
Nice.
All right, so here we go. Our next match is for the NWA National Tag Team titles. Yeah, there you go. Is there a reason you have the Road Warriors on the graphic? Is that just a...
I looked at Minnesota Wrecking Crew, and that's what popped up. I didn't even look at them. Well, shit.
Yeah, that's not who is in this match.
Ignore that.
Ignore that. It was Arn and Ole Anderson against Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Billy Jack Haynes. Haynes, however you say it. Billy Jack actually ends up in the WWE too. I don't know how long he's there. The only thing I remember about when he goes to WWE is he wears like a bright green jacket. It's about all I remember. But yeah, it's not the Road Warriors, folks. Sorry, it is Arn and Ole Anderson.
I don't know why that came up when I looked up Minnesota Wrecking Crew.
Who are not actually related, but they do definitely look like they are related. They could definitely pull off. And I don't know if you've seen pictures of Arn Anderson's son, Brock, but he looks just like his dad. It's crazy. Anyway, pretty good match. I'm always a fan of tag team matches. I don't know how many times Wahoo and Billy teamed up together. And Wahoo definitely looks like he's on the tail end of his career in this match. But hey, it was a good, decent, solid tag team match. Hard hitting, and of course, the Anderson used a little bit of heel 101 at the end when Ole held down the other guy's foot, which we've talked about, I think, before on the podcast. How I realize now does that really affect you lifting your shoulders up if someone's holding your foot down? Just saying.
Like holding onto your arm would be
a little more effective. Yeah, I don't think I need my feet. I don't really have to have my feet to do this, but what do I know?
It's kind of like what is it? I feel like there's a Greek story where if you just grab onto someone and then, or it's kind of like in Dragon Ball when you grabbed Goku's tail, he just like froze up and can't do anything. So you just grab someone's leg and they're just like, I can't move now.
Yeah.
What is going on?
So we're like, 3 Starrcades in, and it seems to me like it's just always, hey, who do we got back there that we can put in a team with Chief Wahoo? Is there anybody that would like to team up with?
Who hasn't tag teamed with Chief Wahoo today?
Yeah, because I think this is like his third different partner. I get it. He's also towards the end of his career, so it was probably just more to keep him around, but not protect him in the tag matches, whatever. But,
yeah.
But it was fine. It was a good, solid, decent tag team match. No gimmick again. But we still have some gimmick matches left. There's at least 2 cage matches left in this pay-per-view. So
2 cage matches?
There's 2 cage matches left. Yeah, one's a tag team match, and one's an I Quit match. So
in a cage?
In a cage.
Oh my gosh, they got
as it should be, right?
Gimmicks at once. I mean, no, in my opinion, a cage match you escape.
Like the death match pull on a hat.
That
thing. Let's combine.
In my opinion, a cage match you escape. You escape the cage. Yeah. You don't go through the door. You escape. But still, I Quit match in the cage could be interesting.
Could be. So yeah, this was fine. It was what it was, and I'm gonna give it a 2.5 Andersons. I don't know who the half Anderson is, but
I'll give this 2.5. Almost the Horseman.
almost. We're right there. All right. Well, let's see what's next. I think it's one of our cage matches. So let's find out.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
All right. So our next match, ignore the noise if you hear it. We're having the studio worked on, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah,
Yes,
we're making it
We're
bigger. Yeah,
expanding
let's
the
go with
studio.
that.
That's all that is. We'll
Yeah.
go with that.
Just
Yeah.
break
We gotta-
open this wall in my apartment complex.
Yeah, because we want to have somewhere to interview the guests when they start coming
Absolutely.
on.
Absolutely.
which
Yeah, sure.
I think Marty Jannetty should be our first one. That would be.
I need.
Dude, could you imagine Marty Jannetty being on our show? That would be great.
Oh my gosh.
That would be amazing. Anyway,
she been daughter.
The daughter story wasn't true, but I did in the man's life. But the daughter story, that's not true. Anyway, our next match is a steel cage I quit match. I didn't forget anything, right? Just those two. Just the two stipulations.
Yeah, steel cage I quit match, and the whole time I'm watching this, there is one thing that I could think of.
This guy's on a roll today, folks.
That's all I could think about this whole damn match. No!
It's Magnum TA versus Tully Blanchard, and in this steel cage I quit match, it's a very short steel cage, which was normal for the NWA at this time. Like,
yeah, very small.
The wrestlers probably could have touched the top of the cage without even climbing. Like, it's very tiny. And it was it was bloody.
It was.
But like you said, like every time the mic was in someone's mouth, sometimes it sounded silly, sometimes it sounded like we were on the wrong Peacock network. Parts of this match just felt silly to me. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. It didn't come off to me the way it should have.
Yeah.
Yes, it was bloody, but it didn't come off as, I don't know, it was just kind of goofy in a lot of ways. The ending was pretty cool when they finally brought in some kind of weapon other than the microphone.
Yeah, somebody throws in a chair for him.
A wooden chair.
And a wooden chair, and he doesn't use it as a chair like we normally see. It's also not the type of chair we normally get. He breaks it apart so he can, he's trying to stab. Tully Blanchard is trying to stab Magnum's eye.
Yeah.
And he doesn't succeed, and then Magnum gets the broken handle, the stabby part, and starts stabbing his head. And that's when Tully Blanchard finally quits.
Yeah.
Instead of saying no, he says yes.
I think, we both kind of agreed on this. First of all, it didn't need to be in a steel cage if it's not a quit match. You're double downing on your stipulations.
But they didn't really use the cage very much.
No, and then the problem was the whole focus of the match was the microphone. If they weren't trying to ask each other if they quit, they're trying to use it as a weapon. Like, you got a cage. You got a steel cage.
A
right
giant-ass cage.
And I think they did it too much. Am I wrong that they asked too often? Like, you should, because they've done modern day quit matches. You don't need to ask every 5 minutes.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say it was too often, because I feel like maybe not too often, but if it was more intense and more things happened, and they did it that often, I wouldn't mind. But that's not probably enough happened every time they would do it. It just wasn't properly dramatized.
There you go. That's the better way to say it. It wasn't that it was so much. Like you said, if they were actually using other things like the cage or whatever to make it more brutal and to give us a reason, like, I didn't need to believe that Magnum TA was going to quit when all you did was bang him on the head 4 times with a microphone and then shove it in his throat. Like, I know he's not going to quit. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say, once they brought that broken piece of chair in,
that made it interesting.
I felt like, that was a good time to start asking,
Yes.
And that is what ends it. But, it's not like they were throwing them into a dumpster or something and then asking,
Right.
You needed more devastating moves, or, as I prefer with an I Quit match, more submission moves.
Yes.
I guess I Quit matches have pretty much been taken away, and it's more just submission matches these days. But which is the way it should be.
They could have done simple. They could have done simple things like one of them could have been like putting the other guy's face into the cage and doing the old grind or something. That would have been a time to ask. But yeah, they were just asking for no reason. Like, you're both bloody, you're both beat up. Neither one of you are going to say I quit just because the mic's in your mouth. Like, that's what it was. There just wasn't enough selling to make me believe that somebody wanted to quit until the chair got brought in. That was the only point in the match where you could actually believe somebody was going to give up. So it was fine. I mean, and I haven't seen a lot of Magnum TA. We talked about it. I know he was next in line to be like the next huge star until he got in that wreck that almost ended his life. And I'm not saying the wrestling was bad. It just wasn't done the right way. That's all. The star of this match was the microphone, and it just kind of took away from it.
And that's disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, on a pretty decent card. So, I mean, I'm not gonna totally kill it. I won't go too low, but I'm gonna give it 2.5 no's. No.
So I do not think it's better than. I don't know I guess it might not be the worst of the night. It might be. No, yeah, I think it is. I'm going to go with 1.5. Darth Vader. No.
Darth Vader.
I almost went with that, but I felt like the over-dramatization of Luke Skywalker was the better fit for that
It was.
video.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely was. All right, well, next it looks like we have a Atlanta street fight.
Ooh, another,
gimmick.
Thing.
It's another gimmick. Let's see what happens.
Gimmick. All right.
All right. Woo. Wikipedia said that match was 6 minutes. Felt way longer to me. I'm gonna shit all over this match. Now there's room for comedy in wrestling, and I just said that like the gimmick matches tonight have been fine and all that, but I don't know if it's because of who was in it. But you have rugged Ronnie Garvin dressed as a woman, and the Boogie Woogie Man who should have retired 30 years ago, and it just, I don't know. It wasn't just me, right? It wasn't just me.
No, it was pretty terrible. I will say one thing. I'll say one thing that's positive. They have a man dressed like a woman, but they actually have them as a face. Almost any time in wrestling, especially back then, if you have a man and they're portraying a woman, almost 100%, they're a heel.
Yeah.
Like Goldust. I mean,
if you were going to do this, it should have been earlier on the card. Because it wasn't good, and then you've literally used everything we've already seen tonight. Oh, they bled. Oh, a ref bump. Oh, someone interfered. Like, literally recycled everything from every match to this point.
But did you see a wrestler of male persuasion dressed like a woman? You have not.
Didn't help.
That is one thing that is different.
That's true. Yeah, it was rough. I don't know.
I wasn't saying it was good. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
And
the Midnight Express are actually a really good tag team, and Jim Cornette can be entertaining. This was just a mess, and it just was like there to be there, and it wasn't chaos in a good way. Like it was, it was, nope. Wasn't for me.
It's just nope right out of that.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say. I don't know what else to say about this match. It just wasn't good.
I'm going to go with one positive for transgenderism, maybe in the 1980s? Perhaps? Yeah. I don't know.
Gonna go with, one really nice wig that Ronnie Garvin has. I don't know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it a nice wig?
No, but this match wasn't a nice match, so whatever. I don't know. You know what I do know? We only have 2 matches left, and what I do know is we get to see the Rock and Roll Express next, and I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Let's move on. Let's go next.
Let's go.
Oh. All right, so here we are. Next match, the second steel cage match of the night, but this one done the right way. It's for the tag team titles, and it's the Russians against the Rock and Roll Express. And of course, I'm a big tag team match fan anyway, but this was a good tag team match. The cage got used plenty. The heels were being good heels. You had Crusher on the outside. There was a lot of action. The crowd was into it. Of course, the ladies loved the Rock and Roll. It had a really cool finish, and even everything after it, the finish, was entertaining. So I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, this was not bad at all. The not rockers were pretty entertaining. The Russians were really good.
Yeah, they beat down Robert Gibson for a lot of the match. Nikita Koloff is he's got that look, that like he would break you in half, It's definitely there.
Looked like he might have broke him in half a couple times.
And the multiple shots like into the side of the cage, and then just like literally laying out everybody after the match. It didn't matter who you were, referees, children, babies. It didn't matter. They were laying out. They didn't care.
These Russians were destroying babies.
Babies too. They didn't care. Anybody in their way, they were going down. But you were right though.
They were the anti-presidential candidate who, instead of kissing babies, they're beating down babies.
Beating down babies instead of kissing babies. That's right. You got to win the election however you got to win it. But
drunk on vodka.
Yeah. So yes, this was, like I said, Cage was used really well, told a good story. It was a classic tag team match. Robert got beat up for a very, very long time. The commentators acknowledged, because it's a cage match, so technically it's an ODQ, so they actually said something about how the ref was trying to make the other guys get out of the ring, and they were like, but really, they don't have to get out of the ring if they don't want to.
Right.
But they did stay with the actual tag team format other than doing, the dirty stuff behind the ref's back. So yes, there was blood, but see here, it made sense because if you're going to bang somebody's head against a steel cage multiple times, I expect to see blood. If there wouldn't have been blood, I would have been like, what are we doing? You got to have blood in a steel cage, especially if you're using
Absolutely.
it. I mean, come on. And I don't want to mess up the way this happened. The ending was really cool, but I got to see if I can describe this right exactly what happened. Wasn't he trying to clothesline Robert Gibson or something like that? Robert's the dark-haired one, so.
So the one Russian was about to pick the guy up for maybe a power bomb or something, and then or something like that. And the Rock and Roll Express dude pushes him as he tosses him up in the air, and he lands.
Yeah.
And then he brings him back for a roll-up pin, a sunset.
Yeah. It was like a roll-up.
It was a backup roll-up.
Like a backup roll-up, yeah. It was crazy.
And the other Russian is actually trying to interfere and stop the pin, and the Rock and Roll Express guy that took the bump, he tackles him real quick so the pin count goes. And then the Russians just destroy the crap out of the Rock and Roll Express.
And everyone else. Everyone else. They did
a double doomsday device on one of them.
Except the guy was laying down instead of all the way up, but it was it looked rough. They threw Ricky Morton over the cage onto the floor, and there are no mats.
Yeah.
There's no mats.
Yeah.
It's all concrete.
There was a chain involved that where you just started whipping them with a chain. Yeah. It was just brutal.
And then two of them held the chain stretched out, and they sent Robert Gibson into it, and he just got the decapitation deal with the chain. Not that it actually decapitated him, but
No. Just like a clothesline with a chain.
Yeah, a clothesline with a chain, and it good match, and all that stuff after just made these Russians look dominant because the way the match ended, it was a lucky quick pin. They caught them off guard. They did some acrobatic stuff. The Rock and Roll Express should not have won this match. They got dominated the entire time. So the way the finish went made total sense for the Russians to just lay everybody out. Everybody. Security started coming down and
they were a little pissy.
Yeah, they were laying them all out, man. So yeah, good stuff. It was entertaining. And I'm kind of torn. I don't know if you know. You can go ahead if you know what you're ranking this. I'm still kind of.
I'm gonna give if for no other reason than the ending and the I'm gonna go 4. I thought this was a lot of fun. 4 doomsday devices that aren't doomsday devices. Or not rockers. One of
you know what?
2.
I just was kind of on the fence, but the fact that you gave it a 4 made me make my decision because I was kind of like, do I give it a 4? Is it a 4? But I thought it was a 4 as well. I'm gonna give it 4 Marty Jannetty School of Jobbers.
It's Definitely the best match we've seen so far.
For sure, yeah. I think it's worth the 4 because of everything, the whole package, like because it all made sense and it was entertaining. The crowd was totally into it. The Rock and Roll Express, I don't see it. I'm a guy, I get it, but I don't. But ladies loved him for some reason. Like if you ask me who's better, Shawn Michaels is better looking than both these guys. So I don't know, whatever. But
well, yeah, Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels.
But the Rock and Roll Express was super over, and the Russians had big time heat, so it all just came together really well. And yeah, I think it was the best match of the night. The gimmick was used properly, so it made sense.
And I don't know if I would have said that without the ending and then the aftermath.
Yeah, that all added to it.
I thought it was good. Don't get me wrong. But it was the ending and the aftermath that pushed it over. Otherwise, I think I would have probably went with 3 or 3.5.
Right.
But that ending was a lot of fun. I liked the ending. I mean, very rarely are we saying, man, a roll-up end? That sucks. But there was the
presentation of it and the way it worked. It was
before it.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It all worked, and then the beatdown afterwards, it was, good story, good storytelling in the match, after the match.
Yep.
It was good match.
You get the heat on your top heels and the beatdown on your top babyface tag team, and it's a perfect marriage. That, folks, is wrestling, the theater. It's all good, yeah. So now what's going to be interesting is I know we only have one match left, and it's our main event. And it legit states this is the 1985's match of the year. We've had WrestleMania 2, folks, so they're saying. Now, we've seen Dusty and Flair before, and unfortunately it was disappointing.
We haven't had WrestleMania 2 yet.
No, I said we've had I meant like already. Like WrestleMania's already happened. So
the first WrestleMania.
Yes,
you meant 2 as in
2 as in also. Yes, as in
also. Yeah, okay.
And not 2, but 2.
It's like we have not seen WrestleMania 2.
All right.
But no, you never mind. You're right.
The last time we saw these guys, it was then it had that finish that wasn't so great. So it's just going to be interesting to see if this main event is going to be more entertaining and better than what we just watched. So
hopefully, because I was kind of disappointed with our first match.
Yeah, it was disappointing last time. So let's see what happens. It's the rematch. It's Flair and Dusty for the world title. Woo! The real Nature Boy. All right, so here we go, and it was main event time. Dusty Rhodes challenging the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, for the World Heavyweight Championship, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And it was definitely better than the last time these two fought.
100%.
But it's still, it wasn't horrible. At times it felt slow. I'm kind of with you. You're watching this match, and I'm going, I don't really know what people see in Dusty.
I
really,
get that he's the common man.
Yeah,
he's the blue collar worker. He is the everman.
I feel like I liked him more as a kid. But at that point, he was in WWF, and he was more entertaining because he was doing the dancing and had the polka dots. But yeah, it just wasn't. It was fine.
He was doing the dancing and stuff. Maybe I would.
Maybe.
I don't know about the polka dots, but if the dancing was involved, it would give him some more flair. Hey, flair. They would give him a little bit more excitement, but here he's just like your run-of-the-mill wrestler, but you know what? He's big. He's playing off as the common man. He's essentially the same shtick Stone Cold did, but it worked with Stone Cold. I guess it technically worked for Dusty Rhodes too.
It did.
Stone Cold, is essentially your common redneck, your blue collar guy. He doesn't give a fuck. He flips you off, but it worked, and he was a decent wrestler as well.
It was his gimmick, and like I said while we were talking, it was the fact that I'm not taking nothing away from it. Is what it is. But Dusty was the booker, so Dusty made sure he put himself in the position to get himself over as the biggest star with the fans. If you're the one, this is pre. You're not streaming back then. You get to see him on TV like maybe once a week. You get one pay-per-view a year. It's not even a pay-per-view yet. This is closed circuit. So Dusty's making sure he's in the limelight and putting himself in that position. And then just that connection of him not looking like a star, being a plumber's son and blah, blah, blah gets him over. But like the chemistry in this main event didn't feel like I've heard years all these stories about the Dusty Flair feud, but I don't see the chemistry in the match. It was kind of slow paced. They tried to sell that Dusty was working on Flair's leg. But I didn't see it.
It was okay, but
it was fine. But
And I have a hard time looking at him as the underdog. I mean, I know he is technically because he wasn't the champion, but you know,
Right.
when you look like you ate Ric Flair, I mean, it's hard to look at you and be like, you, this big man. And I'm not trying to. I'm being a dick a little bit, but I'm not really trying to insult his weight. But when you look double the size of your opponent, it's hard to be like, oh, there's the underdog. You're not Daniel Bryan. You know, Daniel
Right.
Bryan looked like a small dude that just like doesn't belong in the main event picture.
Yeah.
You're closer to like the massiveness of Yokozuna, and you know nobody's looking at Yokozuna and like, man, that man is gonna. I don't know if he can get over. He's the underdog. I don't
Right.
see underdog with this guy, and that's what you're portraying with Dusty Rhodes, is that he's
Right.
the underdog. And oh my gosh, he managed to pin Flair.
And a quick roll up. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean,
We got to see a little tease. Like I told you after this pay-per-view, the Horsemen will officially form. We got a tease of that because Arn and Ole both tried to interfere in the match. Flair bled. We had another ref bump. A different ref came in to finish the match off, and your new champion is Dusty. So again, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't as good as this last match that we had just watched.
no, by no means. It was,
and there were actually a couple other matches on the card that were probably better than this, but it was definitely better than their last time. I mean,
it was a lot better than Starrcade 2. I'll give you that. It's just,
and I can get on the finish. You know, the finish worked the way they did it, so I can get on that too. But it's still not.
I did like seeing like the Four Horsemen kind of, not the Four Horsemen. There was a little bit of a dick tease there with Arn Anderson coming out.
Just the tip. Yep.
Just the tip.
Oh, he came out too. They both came out. Both Andersons came out. So yeah.
So that was kind of exciting, which I guess does help with your underdog narrative. Oh, he had to fight the Andersons as well as Ric Flair, you know. And I get that, so that makes sense. But at the same time, like, I just don't care. I just do not care about Dusty Rhodes. I'm sorry.
Right.
He is not my cup of tea. Maybe I'm just not blue collar enough, so it's just he doesn't work for me. And like I said, I do think I liked him a little better in WWF because of the dancing and stuff.
A little more personality to him.
It was a big guy doing some dances, and they tried to play him off serious in this main event. And I don't want serious Dusty Rhodes. I'm not into him. He's not an underdog. He's not.
No, I get it. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
He kind of bores me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. It felt like, and I get it was a main event, but at times it felt like it was going too long. It was just kind of, and there were a few good spots, you know, but there were other spots just like, man, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I think the thing that disappoints me more than anything, actually, is that I'm super excited about seeing Ric Flair, and he gets paired up with Dusty Rhodes for a boring match.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. I mean, there you have it. I'm not going to go super low or super high, though, because I just don't feel like it was as good as some of the other stuff on this card. And it definitely wasn't better than the last match. I mean, it wasn't a stinker, but it was fine. But I'm only going to give it a 2.5 woos.
I don't think it deserves a woo. Okay.
Don't do that to the woos.
No, don't throw a woo in there. I'm gonna do 2.5. You know what, Dusty? It's time for you to go get you a pack of cigarettes and disappear.
Wow.
NWA.
Disappear.
Go leave us. Go leave us. I'm sorry. I can't get behind him at this juncture.
Yeah, I get it.
Now, don't get me wrong. He produced some great kids. His kids, I love. Goldust, love Goldust. Cody, I really enjoy Cody. Even his younger stuff.
And he came up with a lot of great match types, and he came up with a lot of great pay-per-views, and he booked some really good wrestling. It's just him as a performer himself.
Well,
I'm
talking about as a wrestler.
You know,
Wrestling.
Right.
I'm not talking about his mind. Although, if he's got such a great mind, I'm surprised he didn't come up with something more interesting for himself. But, because I don't see you as the underdog, and that's what you're playing. You're not Luke Skywalker. Not Harry Potter. You're not the underdog trying to overtake the big bad. Like,
Right.
if Ric Flair is your big bad, you know?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Ric Flair is fantastic. I love Ric Flair.
Yeah.
But this just doesn't fit.
Doesn't work. Yeah, it does not.
Maybe works better if you're facing some giant of a man. And it's sad, like, I barely know anything about Harley Race, and Harley Race has been the best match with Ric Flair that we've seen
So far,
on these Starrcades. The first match with Ric Flair was great. But these two matches with Dusty Rhodes, which should have been a way bigger deal, disappointing.
I agree.
But you said next time we get to the Four Horsemen, so I'm excited about that. Right.
All right, well, we made it through it, and now we got to pick some matches.
Oh, I suppose we do.
It's usually how we do it.
Here's the cover! Hook to the leg! He did it! He did it!
Favorite match of the night!
All right, favorite match of the night is not hard for me. I'm still kind of thinking about the worst match of the night, but the favorite match of the night, it's easy for me. It is the steel cage match for the World Tag Team titles, the Russians against the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Russians, Rock and Roll Express, definitely the best match of the night. Definitely, I enjoyed that. So that it's not really a contest.
Yeah,
I wasn't questioning that one.
Me neither. That was my highest ranked match, so I mean, pretty easy one there.
Yep.
All right, time for the worst. Worst.
Worst match of the night.
This one, I thought about for a little bit. I almost picked the opening match with Sam Houston, but I'm going with that debacle of a Atlanta street fight with the Midnight Express and Ronnie Garvin in a dress and Boogie Woogie. That's my worst match of the night.
Oh, I forgot about that one. So I was, I think I'm going to stick with it. That probably is more of the worst match of the night, but I think I'm going to go with the I Quit Steel Cage match. Mainly because you give me a Steel Cage match, you give me I Quit matches. I don't mind. I like both, and then you make it bad.
You know what? I want to say that's actually a good pick, and I wasn't going to consider that one, but that's a good pick. Yeah, they overstipulated it, and like when we were talking about it, like I said, the star of the match was the microphone, and that's just silly.
Yeah, that's just silly.
That's just silly, yeah. So you're right. Yeah, that's nice pick out of left field, but
I kind of forgot about that tag team match. It maybe is worse, but I mean,
I don't know, because I think considering who was in that I Quit match, they were the bigger stars, and it was a U.S. title match. So I think you might, I can't argue with your pick. I just guess I didn't even think about that being the worst match of the night.
That was just the first one that popped in my head.
No, that's a good one too.
Your choice is mostly just forgettable to me. It's like, it's not that it was the worst. It was just, I forgot it happened.
Right. So there you go. It's unforgettable in every way. Not really. Anyway. All right.
Very forgettable.
Very forgettable.
You said it wrong.
All right. Well, we picked some matches, and we're 3 in, and we have to rank some Starrcades. And I believe you have some stuff for us.
I have some stuff for you, too.
Starrcade Rankings.
Dun, dun. This guy did some work. He's got us our start. Oh, that's right. You actually showed me. I don't know if we put that up the last time we did Starrcade, but you showed me that the graphic. That was the first I heard the music, though. So there you go. Well, here we go. Starrcade Rankings. At least it's easy because there's only 3 of them. And I have mine already. It's pretty easy. So we're going to go worst to first. So at 3, I have Starrcade 2. At 2, I have Starrcade 1. And at 1, I have this, Starrcade 3. There you go.
I mean, I don't think we need to keep the listener in any suspense. Mine's exactly the same. There 2 is the worst. First is the first one is the second. This is by far the best. This had a lot of decent matches.
And now it gives
main
me
event might be disappointed, but
yeah, but it gives me some hope. Even though we talked off air, and the next Starrcade Kids is 4 hours.
ooh, yeah,
That
4
might be
hours, and
that might be a two-parter, or at least we'll be recording
see.
it in 2
We'll
parts.
see.
It might be a one-parter, but with the
yeah, we'll
magic.
see what we do.
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna get in, or not NWO, 4 Horsemen. We're also, don't we also get Sting? Isn't Sting 86?
not yet. No, I don't
Not
think.
yet. Are you sure? I thought he was on the cover.
No, not of the next one. The next one's Night of the Skywalkers. So
The what?
I don't. It's called the night.
Luke Skywalker?
It's called the night of the. It's called the Night of the Skywalkers because we have the scaffold match, which was one of the greatest ideas ever in the history of wrestling. To put some guys up on scaffolding to fight. You know, it's a great idea. Jim Cornette breaks some ribs. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be it's going to be a good time.
He is in the 88.
There you go. See, so I told you we still have a little bit of
we still got a little bit for
Yeah.
Sting, and then
yeah.
clearly Sting is the headline for a lot of these.
Oh yeah, once he shows up, he becomes a star. That's for sure. But next week though, we'll be back on track. We're going back to the WWE, and it's going to be Unforgiven in Your House. This is most famous for the Inferno match between Kane and the Undertaker. So another great idea in wrestling right there. So
yeah.
But that'll be next week, and I think now we need to plug some pluggables.
We should plug some pluggables. Yes, agreed. You can find me at Dragon Blazer Productions on the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTubes. You can also find me on Dragon Blazer Pro on the X for the time being.
For the time being. Of course, we have the Boomer and Blaze Facebook page where you can check us out, and you can follow us at Boomer_Blaze on Insta and Twitter, the X. And we are on the TikToks at Boomer and Blaze shows. So there you go. There you go. He shared my little social media thing I made. Ta-da! So there you go. There's where you can follow us. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we did it, and now I have a little more hope. Maybe Starrcade will continue this trend of getting better, because this was, compared to the last two, way better than both of them. So I think we're going to start going up 80. Not the next one, but the one after that's when we're going to start seeing guys we know even more. We're going to start seeing Steiner and Sting and guys like that. So it's going to be good. Right. So there you go. We did it. We made it through another week. Thank you to everyone who follows us. Don't forget to give us some 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Review us, rank us.
All the stars.
All the stars.
We want all the stars.
Just bring it. Bring the love. So we will see you next week. And until then, this has been the Boomer Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And good night from Dragon Blazer Studios.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze from the Ragin' Blaze and the Boomer and Blaze show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more wrestling content.